Let me begin to say hello to all of you, particularly our radio visual friends, wherever they are. We are now on our Born to Lead, and I know that you did not hear that opening song by Sinach, I Know Who I Am, because it was before we invited you. It is only now that we invite you to join us on our show. Feel free, come and be part of our show. This is Born to Lead, and I am your host, and my name is Caesar, and I trust without any shadow of doubt that we will enjoy ourselves for the next few minutes together. And we will just bring in for discussion a very interesting topic that will build leaders for now and for future and right throughout. Relaxed on that, and I will speak to you. Begin to do what I normally advise you to do. Collect up a piece of paper and a pen, man, so that you'll be able to write and be part of the show together with us. If for any reason you want to engage, please let's engage. Let's engage on 066 137 2723. Let me repeat that for you: 066 137 and 2723. And then if you just punch in there, you can leave a message, a text message, or you can put a voice note, or you can text to me, and then I will consider you. You can also just write a text on Facebook if you are able to see us on Facebook or even on YouTube, because we are just available everywhere. KNR is a radio according to you. Now we definitely need to sit back and relax and find out what it is that we are to discuss together today as we begin our show. Please come on board and be ready to travel the journey with us if you can. Please come on board, man, and be on the show with us today. I trust that I'm audible. The last time I was speaking to you, one listener kept on complaining that awuvakali tata, awuvakali. Angeke nitsho namhlanje ndiyaziva uba ndiyavakala, nani niyandibona uba ndiyavakala. All right, let's get on for today's session before the time runs out of us. I'm thinking what we need to talk about. Let's talk about trade-offs. I'm selecting my English words very carefully. I am not saying trade in, but I'm saying trade-off. Trade-offs that you have to, the trade-offs that you have to give up in order to grow up. Wow. Trade-offs that you have to give up so that you'll be able to go up. If you can listen to me very attentively, there is no way that you can go up unless you give something up. There is always something that you must trade for you to go up. Most people remain stagnant on one spot. They are not advancing at all. They are unable to take their God-designed space on this earth because they don't want to give up what they already have with them so that they will be able to go up. But you don't have to give up everything, man. You need to know the things that you are to give up so that you will be able to go up. Give up those things that will make it possible for you to go up. People will cling, according to my observation. People will cling to an unsatisfactory way of life rather than change in order for them to get something that is better. They do this because of the fear of getting something worse. It looks like it's a gamble. You think that if I lose what I'm clinging on, maybe I will get something that is worse. I know an English idiomatic expression that says a bird in hand is worth than two in the bush, as if it means please don't chase after those two that are in the bush. Consider only the one that you have in hand. Today, I want to change your mindset completely from that. Now, I want to talk to you. The reason why I've selected this topic is most people do ask me in a number of conferences that I held with them, in a number of situations that I speak with them, in a number of consultations that I have with so many people across our nation. They ask me a question: what will it take for me to go to the next level? Yeah. Listen to me again. What will it take for me to go to the next level? And I normally don't stress that much when I have to give them an answer. I say it will take vision. Yes, hard work, of course, but personal growth, definitely. It's how about letting go of some of the things that you love and value most. That's the painful part of what I will teach you today. And that is why I want you to listen to me very intently as I go on through this topic with you. Yes, and believe it or not, this is the thing that often holds people back, even those who have achieved some level of success. They are reluctant to give something that they love and value most, so that they create a space to hold on unto the one that they need in order to advance their lives. When you are, let me say, when you are first starting out in your career, it's not very hard to give up, to grow up. In fact, you are willing to give up everything for an opportunity. Why? Simply because your everything isn't much of anything. At the beginning, your everything is not much of anything. But what about when you have started to earn some things? Look at myself, for example. I have covered a space and a time of 65 years on earth. And obviously, I've been around the block many times. And because of that, there are a number of things that I might not be willing to give up than the one who is at his early 20s, 21, 22, 23. There is not that much for you to, that could be you, that can force you to hold on to. You are willing to give up what you have in order to be able to go on in your career. All right. Now, are you willing to give up those things for a chance at doing something that will take you closer to your potential? I'm asking you this rhetoric question so that you ponder deeply on this as we begin our chat together. But that's the law of trade-offs. It works like that. If you want to grow up, to your potential, you must be willing to give up something that you value. Yes. Give up something that you value. You have to give up growing up. If you want to keep on growing up, you need to keep on giving up. Can I give you an illustration? When I was a young boy, I loved so much cars that are made with wire. I used to be a nuisance in people's gardens, stealing the wire from the net wire that's fencing their gardens, so that I could use it in creating and designing my wire cars. You know, other boys, they were even willing to buy cars from me because I could make a variety of cars: a bus, a tractor, a buggy, a Mercedes Benz. My cars could even have some lights, and the steering wheel could turn so beautifully, and I could even make them have a kind of a sound like it's an engine running when you drive on the street. I mean, my cars were excellent. Other boys, they envied me because of the cars that I used to make. I used to enjoy being the manufacturer of cars and the owner of many wire cars. I spend my day driving cars in the street, driving a car to shop and back, driving a car everywhere else, at times driving a bus and a truck. I could even load in some little things like maybe a bar of soap on my car and something like that if it's a truck. So, I mean, I enjoyed that game. I never thought I would go and leave that. I remember so well at that age, I used to watch older people and I said, poor souls, they don't know the joy that I am enjoying in the cars that I drive, because they don't look like they are interested in what I was doing. I thought the whole life that I will live on earth, I will live it driving wire cars or cars made of wire. I don't know when did I felt, man, if I keep on doing this thing, I will never grow up. Look at me today. I no longer have a single car made of wire. I drive a real car. If I was still driving wire cars, I wouldn't be having the real cars that I now own. And what joy would I have missed, because I wouldn't have the chance to have the dominion over distance. My illustration and my testimony is meant to make you understand what do I mean when I say trade something off in order to get something that will take you in. There are trade-offs that are worth making in your journey as you go up. It is my desire to discuss with you those trade-offs. And I want you to listen to me very carefully. I want you to follow me today. We are beginning our talk. Yes, I might mention some for you today. If time permits, might reserve some of what I think are also important to finish up with you when we meet again next time when I am behind this mic. Hello, welcome, love you. I think the last guys to sit here were Olesta Nospoki, and I have no doubt that we have enjoyed their show. And I want to say thank you to them. I did chance to watch them for a few minutes, and I could feel their talk was electric. Thank you very much, Lester and Spocky, and hope you will come on fire next week too. But for now, let me go with you on the trade-offs. When I leave up, some two beautiful faces will sit here. Please be glued on your screen so that you will also indulge on watching beauty at its best at KNR. Okay, now let's talk of the trade-offs that you are to make so that you are able to go up. I'm thinking, what must I say as my first best? Life has many intersections. It has many opportunities to go up or to go down. You actually choose. At this intersection, we make choice. We can add something to our life or subtract it from our life. We can exchange something we have for something that we don't. The most successful people I know and the most successful people know that when to do which one of those things that I have mentioned. Let me speak to you very quickly because I want you to follow me. Now, I want to give you some insight, and I hope I will help you to understand the trade-offs, and you will be able to spot them, and possibly you will take advantage. Understand, spot, and take advantage. Understand, spot, and take advantage. Trade-offs are available throughout life. There is no time that you could say this phase of your life, there are no trade-offs. They are there even when you are an infant. They are there when you are at your teenage years. They are there at adolescence. They are there in your midlife, and they are there in your old age. Yes, trade-offs are available to us throughout life. They are available throughout life. That's the thing I want to share with you. Everybody makes trade-offs throughout life, whether they know it or they don't, but they do. The question that you need to ask yourself is whether you are going to make good trade-offs or you are going to make bad ones. You know, let me tell you this. In general, I believe that unsuccessful people make bad trade-offs. And I believe that average people make very few trade-offs. And I believe that successful people make more or many trade-offs. In fact, they make good trade-offs. Let me rephrase my statements and make them better. I'm saying to you that unsuccessful people make bad trade-offs, but average people make very few trade-offs, and successful people make good trade-offs. Therefore, it goes without saying that it is good for you to make a good trade-off. Okay, now let's go. I have to be willing to keep making significant trade-offs if I want to keep growing and if I am striving to reach my potential. Otherwise, I won't. When I stop making them, I will arrive at a dead end in my life. And at that point, my growth will be done. And that will be the day that my best years are behind me and my potential is no longer ahead of me. Listen to me. When your best days are behind you, when your best days are behind you, that means your end is near. You are only able to live if your best is still waiting ahead of you. That's my advice. Pick it, man. I know what I'm talking about. I've been around the block many times. I'm not lying at you. Now, let me talk to you. We must learn to see trade-offs as opportunities for growth in order for us to do that. Nothing creates greater gap between successful and unsuccessful people than the choices that we make. Because too often, people make life more difficult for themselves, and because they make bad choices at intersections of their life. Or they decline to make the choices because they fear. But it is important to remember that while we don't always get what we want, we will always get what we choose. I've said something to you. You might not always get what you want, but take my word for it. You will always get what you choose. There is no way that you can miss your choice. While we don't always get what we want, we always get what we choose. Now, wherever I face any opportunity for trade-off, I ask myself two questions, which I want them to be your questions too. Two questions that I ask myself. And I'm suggesting that make these two questions to be your two questions as well. The questions that I ask myself whenever I'm confronted with some issues of life. Two questions that I keep on asking myself. Yes. Oh my goodness. Now, yes. Okay. Before I come on these questions, let me quickly play a song. Let me check who is watching first. I was trying to look. There is Faniswa Toboshe. There is Mandy. Oh, my goodness, Usondi. That's my daughter. Utumtanam. Hello, Kulu. It's Siam Tanda watching from Johannesburg. That's my grandchild, you know. Hey, Sia, Soma Chuku. My little granddaughter is going to be an astronaut. So I normally call her Soma Chuku because of what she's going to be. She has already made a choice. And then that choice will determine what she will be living and what she will be picking as she moves on in life. Usoma Chukuchuku. Copy it from my child, man. You will be surprised of what you can do for your own life. Now, yes, so much Chukuchuku. Thank you, Dada. Let me see who else. Brenda Mkwe. Yes, Brenda. My son is watching from a far off place, another land, which I don't want to say. I don't want people to know where my son is. Ukulile Kodeshin Masiza. We never named him Kodeshin. I don't know where he took that name from. But when these boys grow up, they begin to find better names than the ones we give them. Yes, Kulile, welcome, son. And then, oh, my only daughter on earth, my daughter-in-law, Mkondeleli Matumba Masiza. There are trade-offs worth making on your journey. Powerful opening, Dada. Looking forward to the rest of your topic. Yes. I keep on thinking what I need to be saying at times because of my age. I forget what I thought. But I'm trusting that the Lord will remind me as I go on talking to you about this trade-off. I've said we must learn and see trade-offs as opportunities for growth, because while we don't always get what we want, but we always get what we choose. Now, what are the pluses and the minuses? I'm borrowing from mathematics to illustrate my point. What are the pluses and the minuses of these trade-offs? You know, anytime you react to one of life's crossroads according to fear rather than looking at its merits, I trust I'm making sense to anyone. Listen to me again. I'm saying anytime you look or anytime you react to one of the life's crossroads according to fear rather than looking at its merit, you close yourself off from a potential opportunity. That is the hard luck that you are doing yourself. By trying to figure out the pluses and the minuses of any given choice, it helps me to deal with that fear. Looking at cold, hard facts has also led me to discover that I have a tendency to overestimate the value of what I currently have and underestimate the value of what I may gain by giving up. There's so much truth I've said. I know I could feel it when it comes out of me. It's heavy. It's heavy. When it gets out of my mouth, I could feel the weight of the truth that I'm giving you. Let's go on. We will go through this change or grow through this change. That is the fact that we cannot have to, there is no middle ground. It's either you grow through the change or you go through it. Yes, grow through it or go through it. Let me say this. Good trade-offs are not something that are to be endured. I normally say this to all married little girls when they choose to get married to their lovers. And I say, the moment you say yes to a gentleman, say, yes, I will marry you. Yes, I agree to be your wife. That's a powerful trade-off you are making. You are making a trade-off of yourself. I'm not trying to say you become somebody's possession, but part of your dreams and your individuality and your, you name whatever, man, you are trading off that for the life that you will be doing together with somebody else. Because marriage actually means you do life together with someone. It's doing life together. Now, when you choose to do life together with someone, you have made a trade-off of doing life on your own. Now you do life with someone. That's a trade-off, but that trade-off, it should never be endured. You must know you have made a poor trade-off. Immediately you have to endure. Otherwise, you should not have chosen it. What for? I know I'm frustrating you. You're thinking, wayalwa ngamaxhegwazana ngemini yomtshato wakho kodwa mntanam emzini kukwanontontoni njazotha umlilo kwanonkukhu ziyagida. Whatever that is said to you, man, a trade-off is not something to be endured. That reflects a passive attitude and a mindset that says, I hope this turns out all right. Instead, positive trade-offs should be seen as opportunities for growth, and they should be seized. Seize the opportunity. After all, we become better as a result of the trade-offs that we make. When we grow through change, we become active. We take control of our attitude and of our emotions. We become positive, and we become what I could call a positive change agent in our own lives. When I speak a lot of truth, it gives warmth inside my body. I could feel I'm getting a bit hot because this is so much truth that it warms my inside. A sign of wisdom and maturity is when you come to terms with the realization that your decisions cause your rewards and consequences. You are responsible for your life, and your ultimate success depends on the choices that you make. That's why we normally say, umtungamye wozimela ngaphambi koJehova. That means before God, you will not have anyone to blame. You won't shift blame to anyone. You are responsible for your life, and your ultimate success depends on the choices that you make. Let me make the first trade-off that I would suggest that you should make. Listen to me, I'm beginning to count them now. Number one, trade-off. When I say trade-off, I mean deliberately leave it out. Don't take it to someone. It's not a trade-in. A trade-in is when you take something to someone in exchange for something. A trade-off is something you take something off, you throw it away, and you grab another one. You are not buying something with your trade-off. You throw it away. It's not a trade-in, it's a trade-off. Yes, there is a difference between a trade-in and a trade-off. A trade-off is when you take something and you push it off your schedule and you put something else. That is a trade-off. Yes, I'm saying now, trade-off force you to make difficult personal changes. Trade-off force you so that you are able to make difficult personal changes. Often I hear people expressing the hope that things will change. At those moments, I want to tell them that the difference between where we are and where we want to be is created by the change we are willing to make in our lives. You don't sit down and hope that things will change if you are not willing to make a change in your life. When you want something, you never heard. You must do something that you have never done so that you get it. Otherwise, you keep getting the same results if you keep on doing what you have been doing. Yes, the difference between where we are and where we want to be is created by changes we are willing to make in our lives. You know, while I'm still alive and able to talk, I'll speak the truth. I've committed myself to a passion for truth, and I will speak it whether you like it or you don't. Changes to our lives always begin by changes we are willing to make personally, because nothing will change in your life if you have not made a change personally. I don't want to waste your time by giving you my own testimonies of what I wanted, and I could not be able to get it until I had to change myself personally to be able to experience the change in my life that I desired. That's often not easy, but to get ourselves over the hump, we need to remember that. Listen to me now. I'm going to tell you 3 things that you need to remember. Every time there is a hump for you to jump, every time there is a hurdle for you to skip over, every time there is a mountain for you to climb, you must remember that change is personal. To change your life, you need to change. Change is personal. In order for you to change your life, you must change. Period. I've said it. Change is possible. Everyone can change. That is possible. Change is not for some few selected people. Change is not for certain particular individuals. Anyone can change. Change is possible, and everyone can change. That includes you and me. And it excludes no one. Anyone can change. And let me tell you the third truth. Change is profitable. 3 things I've mentioned. Change is personal, change is possible, and change is profitable. Mark those 3 P's I've given you today. The first P is personal, possible, and profitable. Personal, possible, and profitable. Yes, change is profitable. You will always be rewarded when you change. Finish. You will always be rewarded when you change. You never get a reward because you have never changed. But once you begin changing, you will always get a reward. Change may not always be easy, but it can always be done. When we are no longer able to change the situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. If the situation is there, you try your best, it cannot change. Come on, man, listen to me. Change yourself. We just need to remember that we are the key. We are the key. We are the key to change. Wow. Let me take a sip of water. because I want you to hear me. I'm being willing to make a change. Being willing to make a change is important. So when we make the change, mark what I'm going to tell you now. When we finally make the change, there are 5 things that I want you to notice. Just notice them, because I want to talk about making a change. Changing for the sake of change. It gives you what I call a whiplash. Whatever that term means, it is what I'm telling you. Secondly, changing before you have to. If you change before you have to change, it can lead to a big win. But I'm telling you, it is difficult to do. Thirdly, changing when you have to, it will give you a win. But changing after you have to, it leads to a loss. And refusing to change is death to your potential. Your potential will die because you have refused to change. You know, when we're no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. If there is a situation that we cannot change, I've said that before and I'm repeating now, the challenge is change yourself, because you cannot change that particular situation. Let me tell you this. The loss of a trade-off is usually felt long before the gain. Now, what can I tell you? I don't want this thing to hide my face from you, because I want you to see me very clearly. Now, these in-between periods of transition can be a real challenge. We want the outcome, but we have to face the end of something we like and face the uncertainty between that ending and hoped for a new beginning. The change feels like a loss. Some people deal with uncertainty fairly well, others don't. Some recover from the psychological stress of change fairly quickly, and they possess, or they, what's the word I want to say? They process. Yes, that's the proper word. They process through it successfully. Others don't. However, you will do, or the best way, or the well way in which how well you do will depend partly on personality and partly on attitude. You can't change your personality, but you can choose to change a positive attitude and focus on an upcoming benefits of that trade-off. I need to say another thing. Most trade-offs can be made at any time. They can be made at any time. There are many trade-offs in life that can be made at any time. For example, we can give up bad habits to acquire good ones at any time we have and the willpower to make that decision. When I grew up, I was groomed, I was conditioned. I grew up in an environment where I was encouraged when I'm doing sinful things that are sinful before God. And I thought that is life. I used to enjoy that. It makes me think that I'm brighter than others. I indulged my body with a lot of illicit exercises right throughout some various stages of my growth. I regret of so many mistakes I've made at that time. But there came a time when I made a change. I put a gear and I said, goodness, what used to be said to be good, I call it dung, sinful and filthy, and it is what God hates, and I will never allow my body to indulge in it willfully, purposefully. That was a big decision that I made. That I've made it, I don't regret. Getting an appropriate amount of sleep is a change that you have to make. Trading inactivity for exercise is a change that you have to make. Developing better eating habits to improve your health are all matters of choice. They are not opportunity. It's not opportunity to buy a treadmill and begin to exercise. It's a choice. It's not an opportunity for you to get a good amount of sleep. It's a choice. It's not an opportunity for you to develop a better eating habits. It's a choice. I know I've spoken the truth to you. Obviously, the sooner we make such decisions, the better. But most of the time, they are not time driven. They are not time driven. Now, let me look at my time. Yeah, after they make bad trade-offs, people often panic. They feel that they have blown it and can never recover. But seldom is true, but most of the time we can make choice that will help us come back. I know that has been true of me. I have made more than a share of poor trade-offs, but I have made many U-turns and I have recovered. I thank God, because here I am. I can testify that I made a number of poor choices, but I had to make a U-turn and change, and I have recovered from the folly of the mistakes and the poor choices that I made in life. One of my favorite poems which I read when I was at high school. It was written by an English poet called Carl. His surname is Bard. Carl Bard expresses the power of making good choice after bad ones. His poem reads like this. I don't remember the entire poem, but I will just say one verse that is striking to my mind. He says, though no one can go back and make a brand new start, my friend, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. Unquote. Or end quote. It's a poem I love. No, so when it comes to choice, never say never. Never is long and dependable thing, and life is too full of rich possibilities to have that kind of restriction placed upon you. Never say never. Yes. What else can I say about this wisdom I want to share on trade-offs? Yes, let me say something. A few trade-offs come only once. You know, the cycle of change gives us a window of opportunity in which to make decision. Sometimes that cycle only goes around once. Miss it, and the opportunity is gone. Yes. I mean, what I say is very true. And when I say it is because I mean it. Yes, it's very true. Some come only once. I'm checking some people on Facebook if they are saying something. And yes, I ended up on my only daughter in Grace, Umukondi. We call at home Usinetemba. Yes. All right. Now, let me say this. The higher you climb, the tougher the trade-off. The higher you climb, the tougher the trade-off. Maybe this is the last thing for me to tell you before I sign off for today. Because trade-offs will never leave you the same. As I noticed previously, if you are like most people, when you are starting out in life, you have very little to give up. But as you climb and accumulate some of the good things of life, the trade-off demand a higher price. Each success only buys an admission ticket to a more difficult problem, if that illustration is making sense to you. When we are at the bottom, we make trade-offs because of desperation. We are highly motivated to change. As we climb, we change because of inspiration. At the highest level, we don't have to anymore, we get comfortable. As a result, we don't make the trade-offs as all. Because one of the dangers of success is that it can make a person unteachable. Because when you are successful, you think everything is working for you. You think, I've noticed it among the pastors because I live with these people. If your church has grown and has got many people and a lot of money and a beautiful building and a floor rack and a powerful keyboard and a lot of beautiful musicians who are wearing up a very lovely uniform, you think you have arrived, and then you feel so comfortable, and then you even undermine those whose churches are not the same as yours. If they are renting a classroom in a school and they've got very few people knocking into their door, and you think they don't have enough minds to be able to do the work of the Lord, is because when you are successful, you become unteachable, unfortunately. You become unteachable. Many people are tempted to use their success as permission to discontinue their growth. They become convinced that they know enough to succeed, and they begin to coast. They trade innovation and growth for a formula, which they follow time after time. You can't argue with success, they say, but they are wrong. Why? Because the skill that got you here are probably not the skill that will keep you there. The skill that brought you here is probably not the same that will keep you there. And unfortunately, they miss that. They are probably not the skill that will get you there. This is especially true today when everything is changing quickly. 5 years ago, from where I'm saying what I'm saying today, Twitter did not exist. I don't know whether I'm correct if I say, let me say 10 years ago. Now think about how it is impacting our culture and business. 30 years ago, there was no cell phone. But think now of a life where there is no cell phone. How can we be able to make life? Now think about its impacting culture and business. 4 years ago, the iPhone did not exist. No, let me say 6 years ago, the iPhone did not exist. Now think about how it is impacting our culture. I'm able to speak for free to my son overseas using iPhone because I look at a FaceTime, which is only available on iPhone, and it makes us talk, seeing each other at virtually no price at all. At times, I remember the time I did my studies overseas, it used to be a huge challenge for people to connect to me on the phone, and it used to cost them a lot to be able to call and to talk to me. I never thought there would be a time in life when I'm able to talk to someone far off in another continent at virtually no price at all. In the end, when we make trades, we are trading one part of ourselves for another part. The price of anything is the amount of life that you exchange for it. You give part of your life to receive something back. That may not be easy, but it is essential. Allow me to end there. I will talk to you next time on the same subject, because I still feel there is a lot for me to say to you. That is, trade-off never leave us the same. That some trade-offs are never worth the price. Then I will quickly jump into giving you the trade-offs that are worth making so that you become wise. The ones that I will give you, I might end up giving you maybe about 5 of them, but those trade-offs are worth making if you want to make your life meaningful. For now, as I close, let me just pick something in the Word of God, which I need to say to you. Yes, allow me to think of what I need to say. Thank you very much for listening to our Born to Lead. But as we close our session today, I want to talk just 2 or 3 words on discouragement. On discouragement. I'm not saying this because I want you to be getting discouraged, but I want you to hang tough in tough times. And they demand that we get God's perspective on our circumstances. They demand that we get God's perspective on our future. They demand that we get God's perspective on our motivation. I want to read the scripture very quickly. And in verse 9 and verse 11 of the book of James, and I'm reading the first chapter. It says, but let the brother of humble circumstance glory in his high position, and let the rich man glory in his humiliation, because like flowering grass, he will pass away. For the sun rises with a scorching wind, and the wither and the grass, and the sun falls off, and the beauty of its appearance is destroyed. So too the rich man in the midst of his pursuit will fade away. By looking at your circumstances through the eyes of faith, get God's perspective on your future. Because the Bible says in the 12th verse, blessed is a man who perseveres under trial, by looking at the future through the lens of hope. And finally, get God's perspective on your motivation. The Bible says, for once he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those that love him. How? By looking at our motivation through the eyes of Christ. May God bless you all. Thank you very much for being part of this program. And I just want to end by saying a word of prayer for all of you. God bless you and bless you and bless you indeed. May God shower you with his blessing. Ricardo Wilski, I said, I tuned in from Gabro Studio. Looks nice. Hey, that's KNR. It's a radio according to you. Everything look nice if you come to, even people themselves come and watch us. Look at me as an example. I look so nice, and then you don't know the rest that you will see. Keep on watching and you will know that KNR look nice. It's not only the studio and the people. But what's funny is that even when you open them, if you were a murderer and you could cut us, we are nice even inside. The heart, the intestine, the liver, everything is nice. We are nice people in KNR. May God bless you. Until I meet you next time, my daughter says the final word. Very powerful and much needed. The Lord bless you and keep you. Thank you, Mtanam. May that blessing be doubled on you, because there's still a long journey for you to travel, and may you become the wisest girl I have ever had in life. Bless you and bless you all. For now, let me leave you, and then I have to leave you with a song that I love to play. God be with you. My other beautiful girl is walking in. I'm the father of many girls. Yes. No, isebenzile mabo ngoba abantu bathi eGauteng naseKapa Row nase Saudi Arabia, but they are watching. That means we are out there. Yes. And stream.